All right, y'all, we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business today. See if we see that it has BSS, aka Boudoir Search Sameness, with these two Google searches here. So we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More about that pinned video, pinned post, home video, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our FSIC graph down below here in white. Got our highest intent peeps. Over on the left is a peep searching for, boudoir photo shoot in my city, and they're searching that today, things like that. And so people the easiest convert, closest to the money, and we make videos. The videos we make are about BSS, kind of first getting found by these peeps. And over on the right, we got our lowest intent peeps. So we talk about over with our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. We're talking about BLCS, and right now we're currently only working with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand per month in boudoir Facebook ads. So BSS is boudoir search sameness. That is when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. 0 slots means we're dying pretty fast because that means we're on page 2 or deeper if we got 0 slots page 1. And we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. So approximately 80% of Google searches are page 1 and done searches. And that means we're invisible to approximately 80% of the market if we're on page 2 or deeper. And that means our business will be down pretty fast. Also, 1 slot on page 1, that ain't good enough anymore because every other boudoir photographer on page 1 is basically going to have 1 slot. And there's 10 organic slots. So if we got 1, there's going to be 9 other boudoir photographers there. We're not sending it out. We're not looking special. We're not looking differentiated. And as a result, boudoir photographers actually, or boudoir buyers, they're just going to click to all 10 people's website, opens everyone's website, submit a contact form for everyone, get a quote from everyone. And as a result, everyone's going to get price shopped, compared to death, price shopped to death. We have no pricing leverage, pricing power, just because there's so many options. And this is what approximately 80% of buyers do. The other, they're just page 1 only. So, we really only got to worry about the peeps on page 1 for approximately 80% of buyers. Now, 0 1 slots on page 1 Google is actually not normal. So yeah, so it's not normal to have such a small number of slots page 1 Google search as a boudoir photography business owner. It's common, it's accepted, but it's not normal. It's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. And those 2 deeper root causes are 1, market saturation, and 2, the false belief of page 1 equality. Now, with market saturation, what actually happens is the kind of over time, more boudoir photographers enter the market. Normally it's because people upgrade their gear, they get a new iPhone, an awesome camera, or new camera itself. They just decide I'm gonna throw up a Google My Business profile saying they shoot boudoir now, or they get a website created, say they're now a boudoir photographer, or they're posting the mom groups on Facebook saying they now for boudoir photo shoots. So it's more boudoir photographers in the market competing for the same number of buyers, and as a result, we actually run out. We basically kind of get out competed. It's just harder for every other boudoir photographer that's in the market. Now, there's 2 deeper root causes. The first one, market saturation. Yeah, I did that. But the most important one is this new one, the false belief of page 1 equality. So this is something boudoir photographers kind of auto-accepted, haven't really thought about. But many have felt that every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slot page 1 on Google. And as a result, maybe their website was, page 1 slot 7. And some new boudoir photographers entered the market. And then their link, their boudoir photographer basically link got pushed down to, page 2 slot 2. So they're saying man, I help those people delete their websites and Google brings me back up onto page 1. But this is 100% the wrong mentality. Google actually allow us and wants us to take as many page 1 slots on Google as possible as we're willing to put in the effort to take and acquire. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search in only 10 days. So I know Google literally will give us as many slots as we want to put in the effort to acquire, which means the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. We also know that boudoir photographer with BSS, boudoir search sameness, is a disappearing boudoir photographer. So yeah, when you only got 0 1 slots page 1 Google, disappearing boudoir photographer, because if we got 0 slots page 1, We're on page 2 or deeper, we're invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. If we got one slot page 1, we're still basically invisible because we got one slot, same as the other 9 competitors on the page. So yeah, we're getting form fills, but probably 10% or less of those are converting. And this is kind of the disappearing boudoir photographers, kind of the warning sign, the warning symbol, the canary in the coal mine, saying that now our boudoir photography business itself is on the path to, is actually on the path to disappearing. But thankfully, we have discovered a solution. We discovered that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology. And I mean, it works exactly as the name says. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, so we show up there in as many placements as possible. And this is kind of like the snow at the top of the Andes Mountains down in South America. The snow on the east side, the back side of those mountains. So what happens to that snow is it, it melts into small streams, flows into small streams and then small rivers, and eventually all the melted snow collects into the large Amazon River. And that large Amazon River, that's page 1 on Google search. So we got to get the snow up top first, top of the mountain, so it can melt and come down, and that is S-cube methodology, is getting that snow up there. Everything flows from S-cube methodology. And what's interesting is this is the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that can enable boudoir photography business to still have a chance to grow, even in a ever-saturating, boudoir photography marketplace in a relatively quick, and give that opportunity in a relatively quick time frame. The only other solution that gives that same benefit of enabling business to grow in a saturated marketplace that I've seen that is as strong as S-cube methodologies is having a large, well-known brand. But dude, that takes 5 to 8, for like 5 to 10 years. That is, that's way longer than our, S-cube methodology to kind of get that power to grow. And dude, we ain't got 5 to 10 years anymore. No, dude, AI is here. We do not have 5 to 10 years to wait anymore. We need to be building momentum now. And interesting, one of my estimates is that using S-cube methodology, my estimate is it'll actually enable boudoir photographers to, basically acquire and have a large, well-known brand in their area, approximately 8x faster than normal methods. It's because, we're being seen way more, higher volume, higher frequency, and more surfaces, more touch points. And so that's kind of my own estimate. And an example here, S-cube methodology, we are going to LA. Let's say we're in LA and there are 1 million boudoir photographers there. We're one of them. Everyone's got a website saying they shoot boudoir. And so, over a million websites trying to rank page 1 Google search, ultra competitive. And we ain't got no large, well-known brand. So we've decided, man, our only hope here is S-cubed methodology. So we fire it up and we crank it to the max. So let's say we crank it to the max and we take literally the first 300 slots across all the social searches for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords. And then we also take the, let's say those flow onto Google search at and we take the first 300 slots Google search. Well, 10 Google slots per page. So we're taking out literally the first 30 pages on Google. And so when a boudoir buyer searches for anything related to, high intent with boudoir in our city, we're basically the only one that comes up when they search on social, when they search on Google. So if, they got to go to slot basically 301 to find any of our competitors. So if that's the case, what is the whose business will most likely be growing in this situation? Probably ours, utilizing S-cube methodology. Whose businesses will likely be failing? Slowing down, disappearing, failing, going invisible. Most likely the other 999,999 other boudoir photography competitors in our city, because we're basically the only one buyers can find. So it's kind of a, kind of the most extreme example of what S-cube methodology could enable for a boudoir photography business. Now, once you're with S-cube methodology, we now have page 1 visibility, P1V. And yeah, initial benefit, we get more slots page 1 on Google, cool. And every new slot we get page 1 on Google, we're actually kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page 1, effectively making them invisible. And when we make them invisible, they're page 2 or deeper, invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. That means we can basically control, through our effort, how many of our competitors would kick off, make them disappear in boudoir photographers, and make their boudoir photography business, be on the path to disappearing. So a lot of boudoir photographers actually like this initial benefit. And page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. So this is where the GBC universe recommends having a minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google search. Because when we have these, basically everyone else can have one slot, all the other competitors. So we're going to be dominating them with our 3 slots. And the ultra rare scenario where someone has 2 slots, well, we got 3 slots, we're still dominating them. So allows us to dominate in basically all scenarios. And finally, we know that Boudoir photographer with BSV, Boudoir search visibility, is a visible Boudoir photographer, a VBP. So we got a micro universe here. A disappearing Boudoir photographer with Boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. That's fine. We now have the solution, S cubed methodology. We achieve page one visibility. We become a visible Boudoir photographer with Boudoir search visibility. All right, now my results utilizing S cubed methodology. So I wanted to dominate page one for this keyword, BLCS Boudoir. So I strictly use S cubed methodology. That's my results. Got organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So I actually I was able to go from 0 out of 10 slots page one Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page one Google search in only 10 days, purely by utilizing S cubed methodology. So now we're going to look at this boudoir photography business. Going to check. So all this is based on the Google page one searches here. So we got these 2 Google searches. Let's check these out. So first one, we got boudoir photographer. Is that the first one? No, I think. Oh no, St. Augustine should be the first one. I got to do St. Augustine here. Boudoir photography, St. Augustine. St. Augustine. And there we go. All right, so let's see what we got here. Look for a supernova. There we go. So we got, they got 1 slot. And, all right, we got 2 slots here, wedding wire. Yeah. We do not have BSS, so we got 2 slots here. That's fine. That's good. We perfect. Now we've not hit the GBC minimum. We want to have 3 out of 10 here, but hey, we do not have BSS for the search, so that's good. Now we want to hit the GBC 3 out of 10 minimum because that's kind of the only safe time we can say, hey, we're not going to disappear, we're not going to decline. We may not grow, but we'll probably at least tread water. So no BSS, but we're not hitting the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 here. Let's check our Jacksonville, Florida. All right, so still looking for the same supernova. So we got 1. And nope. All right, none of these are specifically about us only. We got 1 out of 10. So we got BSS for the second search at Jacksonville, Florida. Bigger city. So BSS is more common in the bigger cities, obviously, more keyword competition. So we do not have BSS for St. Augustine, Florida. That's good, but we did not meet the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10. But we do have BSS for the Jacksonville, Florida search, and we also did not hit the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've done the local search for yourself for the highest intent buyer keywords, and the highest intent, and you've done the city search for yourself for the highest intent buyer keywords, and you have BSS for 1 or both of them, and or you have not met the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page 1 Google slots for 1 or both of them. And you understand the market saturation. Yeah, people get new gear. Okay, more boudoir photographers always over time. It's always increasing. And you want to kick out those current competitors. And you're seeing S-cubed methodology is the only path to successfully do that. But you're also thinking ahead of, man, AI is taking more and more people's jobs, it seems, every day. So if AI is taking more and more people's jobs every day, then there's probably going to be more and more. It's going to be like the third prong of things that's pushing more boudoir photographers. And it's not just new iPhone or new camera. It's now losing jobs due to AI. So you see, okay, more and more boudoir photographers going to be entering the market. We actually want to increase the kind of pre-fortify our position before this monster tsunami or kind of this increasing wave of new boudoir photographers enters the market, competing with us for page 1. Want to kind of pre-fortify our positions and expectations. That kind of like the levees in New Orleans. I think it's like the built up sandbag things to keep the ocean at bay because the city is below sea level. And we actually want to decide you want to pre-fortify your position to also pre-fortify your position on Google page one to all the new boudoir photographers that will eventually be coming in because more and more people lose their job to AI. And you're also seeing, hey, S cubed methodology is the only path for that. You've accepted that page one equality is a false belief, and Google will actually give us as many slots on page one as we want to put in the effort to take. So you've accepted the false belief of page one inequality is false. So you want to use S cubed methodology, you see as the only solution, and you want the page one visibility. You want to become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility because you know you need this on your way to becoming the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you also want the two hidden back-end benefits of successfully executing S cubed methodology every single day, which is kind of the more we execute it, the keywords that we use that we're starting to rank for, show up social search for, saturate that, show up Google page one for. It's basically building thematic keyword columns attached to our entire internet brand, our social accounts, our website, out there in the minds of AI. So every single day we successfully execute S cubed methodology, we actually increase the probability that AI overview here recommends us, and Google still is about 90% of search, slowly decreasing every day though. So higher chance we get the premium placement slot here, AI overview, because it's pulling from, our frequency, our density, our authority, our age of these different thematic keyword columns that S-Cube allows us to tackle. So increase in probability of being shown up here and increase in probability of being showing up for all the AI search apps, ChatGPT search, Claude, Perplexity, and we got Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search. So kind of all this hidden back-end AI brain momentum every single day. It's kind of building up momentum every single day we execute S-cubed methodology. And you're seeing, since my plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city, that you decide you want to hop on this first, be a first mover, because every single day we execute S-cubed methodology correctly. We're getting the initial benefits, the quick future benefits, and the longer term momentum AI brain recommendation benefits, building up the momentum, and you're putting massive gap between you and all the current competitors, and definitely all the ones that have not entered yet, but we know they will because AI will be taking a bunch of people's jobs. And so you want all that, and you also see if some other boudoir photographer in your same city were to work with me instead, that you would actually have to figure out S-cubed methodology on your own, and you would never actually know if you've rederived it correctly. And then you'd have to go equal our execution every single day, execute an S-cubed methodology, which you'd have to equal our effort and you'd have to be confident in it, which you would not have 100% confidence because you would not know if you've even derived S-cubed methodology correctly in the first place. And to do all that effort, you would simply be maintaining the gap me and your competitor have already built up against you. To actually close the gap, you'd have to double or triple outwork us every single day to close that gap. Basically kind of steal back that thematic keyword column momentum attached to your competitor's brand in the AI brain, the AI search brain, for all these AI apps, and pull it back to your brand. And so you've decided, okay, screw that. I'd rather just be the first mover and not be dealing with the laggard position of not being the #1 boudoir photographer in my city, because I know a ton of boudoir photographers are going to be entering because of AI taking people's jobs. So if that's you, shoot me a DM. When I open my DMs for new patient intake, the hospital is currently closed. We're not currently taking in any new patients. But when I do open the hospital for new patient intake, shoot me a DM and we'll see if you qualify for using S-cubed methodology.